thank, because in the last session, Mr. Speaker, before you came on board and other members of the Senate who are in that session, we used only to combine both public, county public, it was called County Public Accounts and Investment Committee. And I remember, Mr. Speaker, since I've served the longest in county public accounts and public investment, Mr. Speaker, we could not look at those, the issue of water companies, the issue of county emergency funds, like special funds, like education fund, emergency fund. Mr. Speaker, is important. My colleague senators should know that most county governments and governors misuse and abuse the emergency fund, Mr. Speaker. If today you call the water or the emergency funds that is meant for disaster preparedness, for example, no county still has the money. And I know, for example, Nairobi, Mr. Speaker, on the special funds when Embakasi tragedy happened, I bet you there was no money that could be used to address, Mr. Speaker, that challenge that occurred then at Embakasi gas explosion, Mr. Speaker. The issue of revenue water, Mr. Speaker, and revenue water and water companies, Mr. Speaker, can you believe, and I don't know, you know, under Article 43 of the Constitution, and also water amendment that I saw my colleagues when we wanted to do a PPP, the biggest challenge, Mr. Speaker, is access to clean and safe water. But can you believe, Mr. Speaker, most of the companies, water companies, are technically insolvent. A number of them, Mr. Speaker, especially in counties. The liabilities that most of these counties, Mr. Speaker, is still a big challenge, Mr. Speaker. And most of these companies, and that is why we were wondering, should waterworks and waterworks, Mr. Speaker.
What is the point of order, Senator Karungo?
Mr. Speaker, I think my good friend is lost. The report we are supposed to be discussing is about the remittance of pensions to the counties. The county or pension companies or entities. He's talking about water companies, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Cherargei, relevance as a rule in this House must be upheld.
Okay, I will be relevant.
As you build your case,
yes,
just get to know you have 5 minutes.
Okay.
If you intend to use the 5 minutes to build your case,
yes,
then you may not be able to make any progress.
Mr. Speaker, I thought the rules of debate depends on how a debater wants to debate so long as they are relevant. Mr. Speaker, I was building the case. I wish my colleagues who just joined this House should be learning very fast. I was just comparing that before we had county public accounts and county public investment, we have divided. And I was just trying to build the case, Mr. Speaker, because even I remember, because I've served in Labour, we used to talk about the non-remittance of funds through lab fund and lab trust, Mr. Speaker. And I hope as we go, Senator, the chairperson of public investment is here, Mr. Speaker. We must ensure that any funds, now that people have understood the difference between CPIC and CPAC, Mr. Speaker, let me get to point number 2. And this non-remittance should be a criminal offense, Mr. Speaker. Because and I want to challenge EACC and DCI, we have made far-reaching recommendations that anybody who does not remit the statutory deductions, Mr. Speaker, to the necessary, be it lab fund and lab trust, Mr. Speaker, they should face prosecution. It should not be a business as usual, Mr. Speaker, because it looks like the county governments and county governors want to abuse and misuse everything that they are being given, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to challenge and agree that I don't know, Mr. Speaker, in another quick succession, whether we should combine both lab fund and lab trust, Mr. Speaker, because they almost have similar duties, Mr. Speaker, so that we have lab trust. I don't know whether